So we're going to start to talk through some squat mechanics, and we're going to go through a few bars, this starting with the safety bar. Now, I'm going to get Luke to start this movement with his heels on the floor. We've got the heel wedge available to us, but we're going to look at the differences in mechanics from squatting on the floor to squatting with the heel wedge. Now, cues wise for a squat, like any type of squat, we're trying to generate as much stability and strength through the spine, spinal erectors, thoracic erectors, and placing, with something like this, it's going to place inevitably load through the spine, but we're going to be able to minimize that by the degree his torso flexes at the bottom of the movement, okay? Now, if Luke were to start with the feet on the floor and slowly lower down, just stop at that point for me there. He's only going to lower down to a range where the hips are happy to enter that degree of flexion. Heels are firmly positioned on the floor. The width of his stance is going to be somewhere where he feels stable and comfortable relative to his available degree of external rotation. And then from there, he's going to drive heels hard through the floor and push away. Just go down one more time for me, Luke. If you look at the mechanics of this now, because of his heels in the floor now, it's starting to struggle a little bit in regards to his available degree of dorsiflexion, ankle dorsiflexion, and there's no other chance for his hips but to shift back when we don't have that elevated heel. So we're going to place more of a challenge through glutes here in a length and range and spinal erectors, which we need to be considerate of. If Luke shifts back a little bit on that heel wedge, now we're taking a lot of the limitation out of the ankle and out of the hip as well. So as he comes down, you'll see a lot more knee flexion forwards. The torso is now in a more upright position, a more neutral position. There's less loading on the spine. And because of where that line of force is through the bar, there's a greater moment arm to the knee, which means the quads are going to have to work a lot harder. Now, if we were banding this, which a lot of the programs will have bands in, the bands would be positioned ideally at the top of a rack, looped around the bar. A pretty sturdy band now, because we've got to account for the fact that there's going to be a lot of torque through the movement at the bottom half when you are in hip flexion. So you're going to need a pretty strong band to take the load away and deload that. And as you drive up, the band will slowly start to allow more load to take over at the top of the movement.